blocking Trump's growth agenda in Washington, D.C.
Links between Russia and the Trump campaign.
Because of this Russia investigation.
Because of the Russians.
The Russians in the Russia probe.
Aiding the Russians.
The Russia investigation.
And whether the Trump campaign colluded with the Russians.
Welcome to Risk and Reward. I'm Elizabeth McDonald in for Deirdre Bolton. Right now, Trump's growth agenda appears to be stalling out. His tax reform, health coverage reform, a new infrastructure bill, even the border wall now on hold, it appears, as the president's firing of FBI Director James Comey has cranked up the Russia-Trump collusion scandal factory, now in overdrive. But here are the facts. There are 10 FBI and congressional investigations already into Russia. 7 in the House and Senate, 3 at the FBI. The FBI even set up its own unit for that probe. Also, the Trump administration has been pushing back on Russia. No lifting of sanctions there. The missile strikes on Russian ally Syria is another example, after dictator Bashar Assad used chemical weapons on his own people. And Defense Secretary Mattis and Secretary of State Tillerson have both publicly called out Russia in overseas remarks. And according to UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, Trump is also now considering new sanctions against Russia. Also the Trump Treasury Department rejected a demand from ExxonMobil to get a waiver on Russia's sanctions so it could drill in Russia's Black Sea. Now, if that was not enough, the former FBI director weighing in today in a letter saying to his staff, quote, "I have long believed that a president can fire an FBI director for any reason or for no reason at all. I'm not going to spend time on the decision or the way it was executed. I hope you won't either. It is done, and I will be fine." And now the acting FBI director, Andrew McCabe, he testified before Senate Intelligence today that the Trump administration is not obstructing or impeding the FBI investigation into Russia.
Has the dismissal of Mr. Comey in any way impeded, interrupted, stopped, or negatively impacted any of the work, any investigation, or any ongoing projects at the Federal Bureau of Investigations?
There has been no effort to impede our investigation to date. Quite simply put, sir, you cannot stop the men and women of the FBI from doing the right thing.
Let's take this to former FBI Counterterrorism Task Force member Steve Rogers joins me now. Good to see you, Steve.
Likewise. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Are you seeing any changes in U.S. policy on Russia?
No, you opened up with facts, and there are two major facts that we must not ignore. Fact number one, and you brought this to our attention in your opening, there is no evidence at all that there was collusion between the Trump administration and the Russians. Number two, fact number two, very important regarding James Comey. On the day he testified before the congressional hearing regarding Hillary Clinton's emails, he exceeded his authority. He lost the confidence of every law enforcement officer that I have talked to in this country, a lot of FBI agents. Why? Because he decided that he would make the decision that she should not be charged or prosecuted. President Trump did the right thing. And he's absolutely right, the president is, that law enforcement lost their confidence in the FBI director.
Yeah, and Steve, James Clapper said there's no evidence to date of collusion. Okay, the media is still saying, though, Steve, that Trump fired Comey after Comey asked for more FBI resources, money and staff for the probe. But acting director Andrew McCabe said that's not so, that the unit does not need more resources. Let's listen.
When we need resources, we make those requests here. So I'm not aware of that request, and it's not consistent with my understanding of how we request additional resources. I strongly believe that the Russia investigation is adequately resourced.
So what do you think, Steve? Is the media narrative on this, is it right or wrong?
I think the media narrative is dead wrong. Look, it's the he said, she said, and what the media is doing, they're running with just about every single piece of insignificant information and making it into a news story. Fact is, the President of the United States did the right thing. There's no evidence of collusion. And why would the President of the United States try to mislead us? Look, I know the media would laugh at what I just said, but the fact is, I know him as an honorable individual. He's doing the best he could to govern this country, and it's the Democrats in the Congress that are severely dividing this nation, and that has to stop.
Now, Steve, the FBI acting director also admitting in testimony today that FBI agents were upset at James Comey because he did not recommend prosecution of Hillary Clinton. Let's take a listen.
I'm just saying that basically before July 5th, before the first testimony that basically Director Comey got involved in, prior to that, did you see a change in the morale? Just yes or no, yes, a change, or more anxious, more concerned?
I think morale has always been good. However, we had there were folks within our agency who were frustrated with the outcome of the Hillary Clinton case, and some of those folks were very vocal about those concerns.
All right, so it's not, of course, the FBI director is not in his position to recommend anything. He's just supposed to present evidence. But does Andrew McCabe's testimony support the president's reasoning for the firing of James Comey?
It certainly does. I could tell you that law enforcement officers across the country, from municipal officers to the FBI, their morale was hurt, their confidence was shaken. Look, cops, street cops, even street cops, they look up to the FBI. The FBI is still the greatest law enforcement agency in the world, but James Comey took that law enforcement profession and turned it into a political entity, and the president fired him because of that.
Steve, the president sat down with NBC News' Lester Holt, saying that he decided to fire James Comey before he got the recommendation from Jeff Sessions and Rod Rosenstein, that the president, he says he was the one who made the call. Let's watch.
Monday, you met with the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein.
Right.
Did you ask for a recommendation?
What I did is I was going to fire Comey. My decision. It was not.
You had made the decision before they came in the room.
I was going to fire Comey. There's no good time to do it, by the way.
Because in your letter you said I accepted their recommendation,
yeah, well,
so you
also,
had already made the decision.
I was going to fire regardless of recommendation.
All right, Steve, the White House, it's basically being criticized for this today. Some people are equating it to how the White House rolled out the temporary travel ban. That was a rocky rollout. Deputy Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders had a presser today. She denied that what the president is saying to Lester Holt contradicts previous explanations of the White House. I mean, this sounds kind of conflicting here. Do you agree?
Well, here's what I believe happened. The same narrative regarding General Flynn. There was a question as to why the president did not fire General Flynn earlier than what he did. The fact of the matter is that the president, in my view, based on what I'm seeing, he tries to get a totality of information before he makes a move. I believe that his desire was to fire General Flynn sooner. He didn't until he got the information he needed. The same goes with James Comey. I believe the president. I believe he wanted to remove him from office earlier, but he wanted more of a solid foundation to stand on. He got it, and he removed them.
You know, the president also telling NBC News that he asked James Comey if the president was being investigated. The president says on multiple occasions, James Comey told him no.
You know, did you call him?
In one case I called him, in one case he called me.
And did you ask, am I under investigation?
I actually asked him, yes. I said, if it's possible, would you let me know, am I under investigation? He said, you are not under investigation.
All right, that's being questioned as a breach of protocol, meaning the president should not be asking the FBI if he's being investigated, and the FBI director shouldn't be having this conversation with the president. But Steve, let's back up here. Senator Chuck Grassley really frustrated today. He said, stop, D.C., stop with the leaks. Stop saying Comey never talked to Trump. And, you know, there's that media leak that's going on, that's contradicting the president. And please, FBI, tell us once and for all, is the president being investigated? Because the leaks and speculation, you know what, is doing what Russia wants, undermining democracy. What are your thoughts?
Look, I could picture these two guys, the president and the FBI director, having a dinner, casual conversation, and I think any human being would lean over. Right? You're right. Maybe not proper protocol. There could have been a friendly conversation. So I do believe the president with regard to that conversation. And again, we get back to Russia. If there is an investigation, I could see to a degree why the FBI or any agency wouldn't reveal that, because they don't want to compromise it. But if the investigation is not going to be compromised, tell it like it is, and let's move on and give the president the chance to govern this country.
And Steve, to your point, I mean, the Obama administration made it possible to spread intelligence about the Trump, team to 17 intelligence agencies. Now, if there was Russia collusion, given the leak factory in Washington, D.C., wouldn't we have heard it by now?
Yes, we would have. And what was the motive of the Obama administration? To do what's happening right now.
Yeah.
I really believe they're trying to bring this president down. It's not going to happen. He has support.
All right, let's switch topics. A soundbite now going viral. Democrat Congresswoman Maxine Waters trying to play both sides of the Comey firing fight. She's on MSNBC. She appeared there. On one hand, saying the president should not have fired James Comey, But then on the other hand, saying if Hillary Clinton had won the presidency, Hillary should have fired Comey. Now see if you can follow this flip-flop. It happened within seconds. Watch.
You think an FBI director without credibility would have been best served in this position to try to pursue this investigation?
I think if the president had fired him when he first came in, he would not have to be in a position now where he's trying to make up a story.
Understood. If Hillary Clinton had won the White House, would you have recommended that she fire FBI Director James Comey?
I believe that given what he did to her and what he tried to do, she should have fired him, yes.
You know, Maxine Waters is always honest, right? At least she admits it, right?
Well, you know what? Not only Maxine Waters, but all of these Democrats who are flip-flopping are doing it for one reason, and that's for their own political agenda to be advanced. They're not interested in this country. They're not interested in helping this country move forward. And I know that's kind of harsh to say, but look at the facts, as you just had your viewers look at. They're flip-flopping for their own political agenda and not for this country. I really believe this president wants to govern, and I also believe he didn't realize he was going to have an uphill battle, but he'll be victorious.
I meant honest in the sense that she's always telling you what she thinks. That's what I meant. You know, here's the other news today, that the U.S. government had a budget surplus in April. It was the best performance in 16 years. The Trump administration draining the swamp, cutting spending nearly a fifth. Is all of this overshadowing positive news, basically saving taxpayer money in D.C.? What do you think, Steve?
Yes, it's a distraction. The president has made a lot of progress with the economy. There's jobs coming back. Look at what he's doing in building the military. Police officers across this country are proud and they're honored now to work. Look what the ICE, the customs agents are doing. I just read this morning where 1,300 gang members, a lot of them illegal immigrants, were arrested. So there's a lot of good that he's doing, but it's all being overshadowed by this distraction. And the Dems do not want to admit that this president is succeeding.
Thank you, Steve Rogers. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you very much.
As I mentioned, you're probably not hearing this, but we are reporting it. The U.S. government